Hello again, everyone. This is Bionic Slime. I'm your online voice for reviews of your choice, and this is an installment of BS Reviews. Today, I am very pleased, proud, and privileged to announce that I'm reviewing the first hand drawn classic animated movie from Walt Disney since 2004, entitled The Princess and the Frog. Now, as I said, Disney has not made a traditional 2D animated film since Home on the Range back in 2004. They basically fired all of their animators when hand drawn animation wasn't really working out. Past flop films like Treasure Planet, Sinbad, and The Seven Seas and that just weren't making the money they used to. So Disney really didn't see much of a financial future with hand drawn animation. They pretty much went on to using CGI film. So I was very pleased to see that Disney was trying to go back to its original animated roots and to try a couple different things while at the same time maintaining with the classic Disney image with princess and fairy tales and old stories like that. So I was very pleased to see them do that. As I said, we're doing The Princess and the Frog, which is brought by Walt Disney Studios. It was directed by Ron Clements and John Musker. It was written by Ron Clements. It stars the vocal talent of Anika Noni Rose as Tiana, Bruno Campos as Prince Naveen, Keith David as Dr. Facilier, also known as the Shadow Man, Michael Leon Woolley as Lewis, Oprah Winfrey as Eudora, Terrance Howard as James, and John Goodman as Big Daddy LaBeouf. The plot of Princess and the Frog. Taking a interesting twist on a classic fairy tale, Princess and the Frog focuses on the first African American Disney princess, Tiana, who is a poor girl who lives in New Orleans, who lives with her mother and father, who she loves very dearly much. Her father works his fingers to the bone trying to support his family, and he has a dream of opening a big gumbo restaurant that everyone's going to eat at, entitled Tiana's Palace, named after his daughter. Unfortunately, he is killed by an accident, and this leaves Tiana to carry on her family's dream by herself. She spends most of her life working double jobs, all to get the money to buy her own restaurant. Enter Prince Naveen, a prince who has just recently been cut off from his family fortune by his family because of his recent enjoyment of living free, flirting with girls, and just basically screwing around, dancing, having fun all the time. When he comes to New Orleans to marry a princess in order to make his family wealthy again, he comes across a strange voodoo man known as Dr. Facilier, also known as the Shadow Man, who promises that green is in his future. And he means this quite literally when he turns the prince into a frog and turns his assistant, Leonard, into Prince Naveen in order to concoct a plan to steal the family fortune that the prince would inherit by marrying a princess. During the party for the princess, Tiana comes across the frog version of Prince Naveen, who convinces her that if he kisses her, she will be turned back into a prince, and then he can reward her by giving her the money she needs for her restaurant. Unfortunately, when she does kiss him, the spell affects her as well, and she too is turned to a frog. Now they must both find a cure and turn themselves back into human and stop the Shadow Man and his plan by using the fake prince to marry a princess for the fortune. Review the plot. Once again, like I said before, Disney made a very smart move by going back to a classic traditional fairy tale like they have with like Little Mermaid and Hercules and all that other stuff, Cinderella. It was really smart of them to do that. But not only that, but probably the smartest thing they did is that they didn't just try to give an old-fashioned Disney movie. They tried to make an old-fashioned Disney movie with new twists, and they made things so much more interesting and much more culturally aware than I think any other Disney movie has had. I mean, this film sets entirely in New Orleans and deals with so much of the culture there, the music, the singing, the dress styles, the mannerisms, the dialogue. It's all very cultural aware, and it's a nice surprise to see Disney trying this because they've usually gone the safe route and not really done anything that would have gone too culturally, clashing. But here they took a chance and tried something different, and I think it worked beautifully. Not only that, but they took a classic fairy tale and actually put an interesting twist on it that made it much more compelling and not as simple. I had no idea really how this little magical plot would work with the assistant being turned into the fake prince and all, and I found that was a lot more intelligent, addition to the storyline that made it much more interesting. And I really appreciate the fact that they worked so hard into making this more traditional classic roots, both in the Disney films and in cultural films. I just really admired that fact that they tried that, and it was a very lovely twist on a classic story. Review the characters. You got a really nice set of very, very nicely voiced characters here. Anika Noni Rose did a great job as Tiana. I mean, she really sounds just like her character, what she really wants. You can tell the desire, the emotion in her voice. You can really feel it in when she says it. She gives a great sense of energy and humor to her character and a sense of realism, which I think most Disney princesses tend to lose. This film also used a lot of realism, which is odd considering there's magic involved. But her whole plight with the restaurant, it's a very realistic approach, and I like that they tried that they brought something, more we could relate to. Bruno Campos was excellent as Prince Devine. Most of the film, you see him as the frog, and I think it's because of that his voice is in the frog so much that it makes him even funnier. He plays this kind of suave, charming-like character, and it looks hilarious on the frog. It really just makes him look funnier, and it just makes his delivery and his dialogue work much, much, much better. Keith David, I always have enjoyed him, and I loved him even more here as Dr. Facilier, the Shadow Man. He had a great character. I think he brought another sense of cultural, knowledge of the whole voodoo, black magic charm stuff. I love his design, his outfit, his musical numbers with the magic and the mambo beats kind of thing. It was really good stuff. I mean, it really fit with the character and with the tune of the film. And you got a lot of other classic Disney-esque characters like Jim Cummings, who plays Ray the Firefly, who really was good here. He didn't fall into his traditional roles. He usually doesn't get much credit outside of the fact he does like more famous roles like Winnie the Pooh or Tigger or Darkwing Duck. Michael Leon Woolley was very funny as Louis the alligator. Again, very Disney-esque character. Very very likable, very easy to laugh at and enjoy. They didn't really make much good use of Oprah Winfrey and Terrence Howard in the film, but that's all right. John Goodman's another Disney regular on here, and I almost didn't recognize his voice with the accent here, but he was very, very good. Review the animation and the music. Animation was, again, there's nothing that beats traditional hand animation over computers, because to me hand animation gives a sense of personalization, a sense of personal style. Anyone can really operate a computer and draw with it with the right program, but it takes a special kind, a specific artist to really get that unique sense of identity in your drawing, and that's what this movie really has. Very colorful, very vibrant. It gave the characters a nice realistic edge, but still seeming cartoony enough that they fit in the Disney world. Like, it's not too real for you to feel that this isn't a cartoon movie or anything. And I really think they gave the animals on the swamp, especially during the musical sequence, very nicely animated, nice colorful sense of displays. The music was very, very good. It was much more rich and intelligent than usual Disney songs. It wasn't trying to be poppy, cutesy, and sing along kind of thing. It definitely worked more towards the goal of the story of the film, and that's a good thing. In this, I mean, it's nice to see that they're trying to make something a little bit more serious, and that's what another thing I like about this movie is that the way it's done and the way they handle things with the story and the animation, it's not trying to hide anything, like make it too kiddie friendly. They don't shy away from doing certain things that you wouldn't think would be in a Disney movie. Flaws about the film. Unfortunately, this film doesn't exactly really reach the classic traditional Disney-esque portrait that I think they were trying to paint here. The songs, as I said, kind of lack the memorable, catchiness of the original Disney songs from like Jungle Book and that. It's not a bad thing, but it's just like if they were trying to do that, it really doesn't work because this film just does not come off as a perfect Disney traditional film. I also felt that they kind of wasted the parents. They bothered putting such good voice actors like Oprah and Terrence Howard in here, and they barely used them. I also felt that they really did not give enough time at all to develop the romance between Tiana and Prince Naveen. They kind of work at it like a screwball comedy thing, and while that is probably it is true, it's typical of Disney films to do stuff like that, but it just felt like they rushed it a little bit too much. It's not terribly bad, but it is noticeable. Final wrap up. Princess and the Frog is a great, great big comeback for Disney. I'm so happy and pleased that they went back to their traditional animated roots, tried some new things as well as some classic things, and made a wonderful, variation on a classic fairy tale. You got a beautiful cast of characters. Tiana is lovely both in animation and in voice. Bruno Campos is hilarious as Prince Naveen. I always enjoy Keith Davis, Dr. Facilier, the Shadow Man. I loved Michael Leon Woolley as Lewis, the Alligator. Lots of fun characters, very enjoyable. Wonderful music, not quite as catchy. They kind of ignored the parents a bit, and it just didn't really hit the animation classic mark. But this is definitely a big friggin' step in the right direction. I applaud Disney for taking this initiative and taking the guts to go back to traditional animation, which would put them on the map in the first place. Bottom line, I give Prince and the Frog 3.5 stars out of 5. Well, that's all for now. This has been Bionic Slime for BS Reviews. Thank you all for listening, and goodbye for now.